Hello everyone, Don with Resolute Outdoors here. So it can happen to any of us. We kind of live in a world where we're so dependent on electricity that anytime the power could go out, especially in the winter time, or if you live in a more rural location, or if you live out west where there's potentially rolling blackouts and things like that. So today I wanted to go over what I have and what I call my power outage box. Now really this is going to focus mostly on just lighting. If you live in a place where you have to heat with a kerosene heater or wood stove or something like that in the wintertime, if your power goes out, obviously it's not going to fit in a box, but this is just kind of a kit that you can tuck away, kind of take care of most of your lighting needs, and then take care of some of those kind of needs you have immediately after the power would go out. So without further ado, let me kind of break into this here. So this is just kind of a hefty tote. Hefty's the brand on this one. Actually broke the latch on this side, but this kind of just stays in our closet. Doesn't really get used unless we actually have a need for it, like I said, with a power outage. So kind of some of the things we have in here, we have these Ozark Trail lantern sets. There's a large one and two little ones. I've shown both of those, or I've done a review on those in the past. I can link that up in the corner. These are great lanterns. These would be great. These are great for something like this. They're not really water resistant. They don't have any O-rings or anything, but they put off a lot of light. They're extremely affordable. I know with inflation, these have gone up quite a bit from when I did the video on them, but I still think, at least last time I looked, I think they're still a pretty good deal. They do throw a lot of light for what they are. So there's a set of 3 of those. Also have just a large Coleman lantern. This lantern is a decent lantern. Turn it on for you here. It's got high and low settings. This one does throw a little bit more light than these, and I think the battery life is better on this than on these little ones, and this one's just a little bit more durable, although I can't say I've compared the battery life extensively between the two of them. But this is kind of a good option to put in kind of your main living area. These are kind of good for stashing in hallways or maybe a bedroom where you're just going to go for something occasionally. Another great option I have, and I think something that's often overlooked, is glow sticks. So I have a lot of glow sticks here. Doesn't matter what they are. Doesn't matter, they don't need to be anything special. This cheap Walmart ones, these are pretty old, but they work just as well. Glow sticks are great to put as like a night light. So if the power goes out, it's overnight, you need to utilize a bathroom. You put one or 2 of those, hang them in a bathroom somewhere. For the most part, that's going to be plenty enough light for you to be able to see and do what you need to do. And for only a few bucks, you don't have to worry about any batteries going bad on them. Although I do think these will degrade over time. Although, like I said, these are pretty old. I don't know if they have a date on them. And I've been using these for, let's see if you can see that date there. It's a expiration date. 09. I've been using these. I used a couple of these just last winter. So I mean, I don't think the expiration date really matters as much on these. One other thing I have that I recently picked up, I got secondhand. I haven't used extensively, but it's kind of a cool option as well, is this little Coleman light. Now, like I said, I think there's probably a more modern version of this. I did not look for any more modern versions, but you have this big light here. You have this little light that pops out on the side. And you have radio as well. So radio would be nice for short-term power outages. Obviously, you can use your phone, check with your local electric utility provider, things like that. But you do want to conserve your phone battery. If you can get updates via either a radio like this or a weather radio potentially, which I have one of those in a vehicle, I could go grab if I needed to in a situation like this. It's a good way where you're not using as many batteries, or you're not using your phone life to kind of just stay up to date on what's going on. Another cool thing about this is it does have a compartment here where you can store batteries. Now what I typically do is I'll take the batteries out of this so they're not actively draining, especially in an older piece of equipment like this, and I'll just store them in the back here. And lastly, well, two other things. One I don't have here. The last thing I keep in here is a large number of Crisco candles. I just use old sauce jars. These are plastic ones, probably not ideal, but we have the jars. We're just going to throw them out or use it for something else. These make great candles. Like a Crisco candle here. You just put a wick and melt your Crisco in it. Just buy the wicks on Amazon or whatever. But these will throw off a lot of light, and these will burn a really long time. So like this one here, you can see we burned this one. They'll last a really long time. And I'll tell you what, three of these kind of stacked together in a average size living room, they'll throw off a lot of light. Enough to like play a game of chess or do something like that, probably play a game of cards. Maybe not enough to read a book. I mean, if you had positioned one right, like in the right position, you could read a book, but you'd have to like actually have the light behind you just so the light would shine on the book itself. But these are super cheap. We just use some Aldi's Crisco. And we just put them in, you know, whatever containers we have. These are just plastic Aldi sauce jars, pickles, things like that. They work really well. The other cool thing about these is that if you get enough of these and it's cold out, these will throw off some heat. So if you have like 3 or 4 of these in tandem with like a kerosene heater or a wood burner or something like that, this will help you heat your home a little bit more. I'm not saying you're gonna light all these candles and you're gonna be, you know, 68 degrees in your home if it's freezing out, but you know, if you really get in a tight spot and for whatever reason you run out of whatever fuel you have to heat your house or you don't have any other options, you know, if you put these up in in a room, maybe you have some wool blankets or something like that, and then you kind of hang those up over the doorways and kind of box yourself in one room, especially if you have multiple family members with body heat. These can help keep you relatively warm. One other thing as well that I don't have in here that would be a good option would be some way to charge a phone. I have used battery packs before, but they just never seem to be charged whenever you need them. I mean, either they don't last long enough or they never seem to work right. I should probably invest in a little bit better quality one, but just not something I really have put a lot of time into. Also as well, something that I have had, but the last one I had just completely failed on me, wasn't good quality at all, is a solar phone charger. I mean, obviously, like we talked about before, your phone is probably one of your best ways to communicate, especially if it's a more long-term natural disaster or emergency. So it would be wise to have one of those as well, especially a solar powered one. Although, you know, if your power goes out in the middle of the night, that's not going to really do you a lot of good. But just an option to have. I think most people's phones can last at least for 12 hours for the most part. I mean, just like people say, you know, just like kind of the prepping community says about keeping your gas tank at least half full. It's a really good idea to keep your phone at least half charged as well. I'm not perfect at it, but it's a good idea to have that as well, so you can kind of at least hopefully get 12 hours till the next time you see sunlight. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is Dawn with Resolute Outdoors. This is just kind of a simple power outage box. Let me know what you have kind of set up. Oh, one other thing as well that's not in here, that's glass, and that's why it's not in here, is a wick lantern. So like a traditional lantern, you could probably put kerosene. We typically use like lantern fuel. You can just buy some extra wicks. We have those all together. I just don't keep that in here because it's could leak potentially, and it's glass. It's a more fragile glass, but that's a great option as well. That thing throws off a lot of light. It doesn't really smoke at all. You could probably even heat something up on top of that if you really had to, food-wise. So thanks for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, I'll see you.